What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunched Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua, or should I say Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz 3. And the question was, how would Andy Ruiz do against Anthony Joshua now in a third fight? And that's what I want to talk to you guys about, Andy Ruiz, and what do I feel about him currently. Okay, we know he is with the Reynosos. We know he's with Canelo, under the tutelage of Canelo. And Canelo, you know, he's trying to emulate some things that Canelo has done. And from what I've seen from his last fight with Areola, I seen him take a lot of punches that leads me to believe he hasn't learned much at all. There is nothing that I saw him do that emulated Canelo or really reflected any difference that the Reynosos have taught Andy Ruiz. The only thing that I see on one side of the equation is the strengthening conditioning. You know, and I mean by that, I mean his weight. I mean, he's lost weight. Maybe that's a bold word or term, strength and conditioning. Strength and conditioning, I didn't see that. In fact, I seen less of that. I seen that Andy looked weaker. Did he look quicker? Not really, because, I mean, for a fat guy, he's always been fast. You know, so I think that Andy Ruiz got a little smaller, maybe a little quicker. But as far as him fighting Anthony Joshua for the third time, I don't give him a chance in hell to beating Anthony Joshua now. Why? Well, he might be fast, he might be shorter. Shorter fighters will give Joshua problems sometimes. But because he's so tall, kind of upward oblong. But based on what I saw, his last performance against Areola, I think Anthony Joshua, seeing that and how he reacts to that, I see him probably stopping Andy Ruiz. He already dropped him once in the first fight before he got hurt himself. But I think now, if Andy keeps losing weight, I think he will not be as strong, because I don't see him having his strength of old, because that strength he had was conditioning from a guy that was very well obese and overweight. Now, when you start dropping weight like Andy Ruiz did, and you're losing, 40 some odd pounds or 50 some odd pounds, right? You're going to lose something. You have to adapt to that. Now, I'm not saying that Andy can't get that strength back. I'm saying it's going to take him a while. It's going to take him a while, you know, and it could have been some ring rust, but still, there's nothing that he did to Areola that will convince me that he will beat Anthony Joshua, because Anthony Joshua already knows, like, you know what? I'll just box him. I'll just do the same thing I did before. The only difference is he's smaller and he weighs less. That's the only difference. He's always been faster, so that's really not a factor. He's a notch and a half or so faster than Joshua. Right? So he's faster. But do I see him beating Anthony Joshua for a third fight? No, I don't. I see Joshua, and all he has to do is work behind his jab, fight tall, keep him long, and repeat the process all day long. That's what I see. I mean, and I think he looks a little weaker. He's not the same as he used to be as far as resilience or durability. I think a lot came with that 270 plus frame was durability. He can take punches because it was more of them to take. When you drop weight and people start throwing and landing bombs on you, we seen in the Areola fight. I mean, look at his face. You can see those punches were affecting him, and you can even tell from Andy Ruiz that Andy Ruiz himself didn't even really know why these punches were affecting him this way. They were foreign to him, okay? The idea of him being hurt by those punches were foreign. It was almost like Antonio Diaz, okay? Antonio Diaz, he's a brother of Julio Diaz, right? And they were fighting brothers, they were trainers or whatnot, and then they were fighters. Then they turned, a lot of them. Well, Antonio Diaz turned into a trainer, but he fought Sugar Shane Mosley. Up until that point, he never hit the canvas until he got in there with Sugar Shane Mosley, and Sugar Shane started whacking him across the head, to the temple area, and he went down and really didn't even know why or how, because he never been in that situation. Andy Ruiz was in a situation where he got hit with punches that he was not familiar with, that type of effect that punch gave him. Okay, so when Chris Areola did whack him with that right hand, he took that knee, he was kind of like, oh God, what was that? And then he got caught with a left hook. He was like, oh God, what was that? Okay, so these were unfamiliar factors to Andy Ruiz. And knowing someone like Joshua that was boxing and moving, picking him in spots, right? Joshua is kind of the type of person to try to go for a knockout knowing that it damn near happened from Chris Areola. Okay? Now, one thing you know about Joshua can be overzealous. He can be overzealous, but I think, Barrera was overzealous at once until he got knocked out. And I think that Anthony Joshua does like to mix it up. He does like that. He likes that. You've seen him in the Pulev fight. But he will unload on you. And he will do a number on you as well. But as far as Andy Ruiz, he didn't have to cut off the ring with Chris Areola. But even Chris Areola was able to pick his spots and catch Andy Ruiz. And Andy Ruiz was the faster fighter. So you don't have to be faster than any fighter that's faster than you, especially Andy. You just use good timing. And that's what Areola did. Chris did that. He used the timing. He used his wisdom, okay? And he was patient. And he landed some great shots against Andy Ruiz, and the type of shots that can hurt you, that leads me to believe that maybe Andy Ruiz can be stopped one day. And then what it is, I think, if Chris Areola would have pressed the gas, he might have got Andy Ruiz out of there because he had already dropped him. Now, fair play to Andy, though, to be fair. He did go down in the first fight, and he was hurt again in the second and almost went down. But he was able to take punches and keep going. So, I mean, it's not like his chin's gone, people. So I don't want you to think like, oh, he has no chin no more. He has no type of durability. No, he still has durability. He just doesn't have as much as he has when he was a bigger guy. That's my point on that. So I don't want people to think I'm hating on Andy or something. But no, but back to him and Joshua on a third time. Joshua can outbox him for fun, for one. And if he tries to knock him out, he could probably do that for two. Okay, because based on what we seen him get hit by with Chris Areola, I can see him getting hurt again. And then here's the thing. Here's the ironic thing about this whole equation. Anthony Joshua got hurt from a temple shot, right? Like right here, like right in this area. Andy Ruiz got hit in the same area, but just was with a different punch. And that threw him off. That's what made him take a knee. So you see, it's not really about the chin, it's where you get hit. Punch placement is very, very important. And people should acknowledge that and respect it. Put some respect on it, right? Because if you don't, you'll find yourself in the canvas just like Andy Ruiz did. Because Andy, and like everybody thought, now I thought too, I'm not excluding myself. I thought that Chris Areola couldn't even hurt Andy if he did catch him flush. That was my mindset. But obviously, it's a humbling experience for Andy Ruiz because he knows now, like, hey, I can be hurt just like any other heavyweight. But as far as him fighting or beating or how a fight would happen between Anthony Joshua, no. Because he couldn't cut off the ring to stop Anthony Joshua. And from what I seen, his work rate wasn't increased at all. It was about the same. So for that reason, no, he won't work enough to even get a decision to make it debatable to beat Anthony Joshua at this point. That's if Anthony Joshua don't catch him with something that hurts him. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about this answer to this question. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunched. Peace.